Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik, Voss, and Deadpool and Wolverine's latest trailer promoting tickets going on sale a full 9 weeks ahead of the film's release included one detail that everybody missed: a sneaky QR code hidden behind Wolverine, and that walkout shot slipped right between Logan's legs, which you know Reynolds did because he's dying to get between those thighs. Visible only in Ryan Reynolds' separate upload over on his personal YouTube channel, a QR code that takes you to an unlisted disclaimers video, a video that I'm going to break down and explain what it really tells us about all these other details revealed by Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and Sean Levy in their extended interview with Fandango. And real quick, the best way to support New Rockstars, as always, is to grab something from nerdriot.shop, like perhaps our Magneto was right shirt. Nerd Riot is doing a special Memorial Day sale for the next 7 days where you can buy one and get one 50% off. Okay, so when you scan this QR code, it takes you to this video unlisted on Ryan Reynolds' YouTube page. Let's take a look.
We're very excited to be joining you July 26th. Many of you are very excited, but we should set the table correctly. This film is as paper thin as a sequel to Battlefield Earth. We're mostly going to beat each other senseless, make enemies with Disney, tell a few dick jokes, make a few jokes at my expense, make a lot of jokes at Hugh's expense, and completely sidestep Marvel's mandated after-credit sequence, which, if you haven't figured it out yet, is always just a commercial for another movie, which will invariably end with a commercial for another movie. So sit back, relax, let us lower your IQ and raise your heart rate while we travel to a vapid dreamland, a place where grown men and grown women walk around in tights and act like it's not a giant cultural cry for help. This is cinema.
In this disclaimer video, you probably heard Ryan Reynolds referencing the 2000 film Battlefield Earth, which is really a Scientology propaganda sci-fi epic film starring John Travolta based on one of L. Ron Hubbard's novels, and it is garbage. The film was a huge bomb, and even its co-writer J.D. Shapiro disowned it, and he wrote this interesting tell-all article about how weird it was to try to write a movie while he was taking notes for the Church of Scientology. Anyway, what's interesting about this is Ryan Reynolds says that they plan to, quote, completely sidestep a post-credit scene and mocks the very concept of post-credit scenes with some pretty accurate commentary. But if this whole video is meant to be seen as a kind of joke, we don't have to take Ryan Reynolds at his word here, because various scoopers are continuing to maintain that there will be a mind-blowing post-credit scene for Deadpool and Wolverine, with many speculating that Tobey Maguire will appear as Spider-Man and set up a crossover in an upcoming Secret Wars film. It's also interesting that Ryan Reynolds calls his entire movie, quote, a vapid dreamland, a place where grown men and grown women walk around in tights and acts like it's not a giant cultural cry for help. One cannot help but feel like he's internally talking about the post-incursion wasteland setting that seems to house most of this movie. In my initial trailer analysis, I pointed out that Wade blows out his birthday candles and makes a wish, and the trailer edits the TVA knock to happen right then in that moment. And at that point, he is whisked out of his reality into the TVA. And based on that, I speculated that Deadpool and Wolverine could have the kind of dream story structure, you know, driven by wish fulfillment, beginning with a longing hero transported to a dream world that exaggerates analogs from his normal life into these more colorful oddball form. A story where he has a quest to do something for someone who is ultimately the villain of the story and ultimately learns that there's no place like home. But Reynolds says grown men and grown women, a hint that it's not just himself as Deadpool and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine wearing these colorful outfits, but female superheroes in comic accurate costumes as well. Jennifer Garner was confirmed to play Elektra in this film, and in the follow-up video to our Like a Prayer trailer breakdown, I pointed out that you can actually see Jennifer Garner's elbow in a shot as Deadpool and Wolverine charge into Cassandra Nova's compound. We also know that Kelly Hu is returning as Lady Deathstrike. You remember, we see her in front of the Giant Man corpse, but her suit from X2, like most of the costumes from the first 3 X-Men films, were not exactly the colorful comic accurate tights and spandex that Reynolds seems to be referring to in this disclaimers video, which is why it's interesting to watch the faces of Ryan Reynolds, Sean Levy, and Hugh Jackman in this extended interview with Fandango's Jacqueline Coley.
I'm just gonna name a couple characters, and then y'all can like give me some face on it. Sure. Elektra. Nothing. Okay. Mystique. Nothing. Storm. Now.
I'm gonna answer with a different answer. We come to this movie, I definitely come to this movie as a fan.
Yeah.
A fan of the X-Men movies and the Deadpool movies. And so the movie was definitely made with the love of being a fan.
I have a pair of running shoes. They're Asics running shoes that are the an X-Men edition, but I have the Storm ones.
Oh.
Every time I put them on, it's a little salute to Halle Berry.
We want to thank Geology for sponsoring this video, but also to thank them for making sure we look camera ready all day, every day. Geology is a 29-time award-winning skin, hair, and body care company recognized in Men's Health, Oprah Daily, Hypebeast, Birdie, Esquire, and GQ. Geology's products use just a handful of powerful, proven ingredients that have been trusted by dermatologists for decades. If you don't know where to start, Geology can create a simple and effective skincare or hair care routine for you. All you gotta do is take a quick 30-second quiz. Geology can help you fight acne, reduce oiliness, prevent wrinkles, combat dark or puffy under eyes, have smoother, hydrated skin, and target signs of aging. Right now, if you use code NewRockstars100, Geology will give you 100% off their award-winning skincare trial set. You'll also get an additional bonus offer of up to 30% off one skin, hair, or body product when you add it to your trial. That's 100% off plus an additional 30% off. That's a lot of off. Just click the link in the description or go to geolog.ie/rockstars100 to get started. So again, a lecture we already know is confirmed. Mystique, only Hugh Jackman emits a bit of a smile, but he might just be fondly remembering his many scenes with Rebecca Romijn in X1 and X2. My issue with Mystique is that the body paint is such a hassle to apply that both Romijn and Jennifer Lawrence left the character feeling not too keen on going through that process ever again. It also would be a lot for those actresses to get into peak physical shape just to have their bodies scrutinized for something that would just be like a couple minutes cameo. But Halle Berry returning as Storm, that's where notice these three guys cannot help but change the tempo of the conversation. Like Sean Levy defaults into his venerable grin and his brimming positivity and his fan appreciation, and then Ryan Reynolds defaults into making a joke about his running shoes. But Halle Berry returning as Storm seems like exactly the kind of high-profile cameo this movie has in the works. A grown woman in a comic-accurate suit. As Berry was another cast member from the early X-Men films who was denied the opportunity to play the character as a true goddess with huge theatricality and a billowing white cape, but was instead forced into these stupid black outfits that everyone had to wear in those movies, and was directed by Bryan Singer and Brett Ratner to play Aurora Monroe, just kind of cool and understated. We've all seen X-Men 97 now. That's how Storm should be. And let's not forget that back in May 2023, when Deadpool and Wolverine was rushing into production, Halle Berry posted to Instagram this photo of herself with a short white haircut, which led many to believe that she would be returning to play Storm in this film. Now, despite Ryan Reynolds dissing the idea of post-credit scenes, he confirms that this movie does deliver on the promise made by the post-credit sequence of Deadpool 2, when Deadpool goes back in time to the events of X-Men Origins Wolverine.
In Deadpool 2, there's a coda that where I say in the after credits that you're gonna hang up your claws one day. It's gonna make a lot of people very sad, but also your old pal Wade's gonna show up one day and ask you to go on one more ride. And when he does, say yes. And I just love that this film actually makes good on that.
Now, the Wolverine in this movie is not that Wolverine. These guys keep stressing that. It is a completely new Wolverine that we have not seen before. But what I take from Reynolds' words here is that the Deadpool in this movie knows Wolverine, but the Wolverine in this movie doesn't know Deadpool. Because there's a sense of fanboyism and kind of like a one-way parasocial relationship where Deadpool, as a meta character who can break the fourth wall, is just well-versed in all media history. He knows who all these characters are. But this Wolverine has only ever been a character in his own world, and he doesn't know who Deadpool is. Like, for him to know who Deadpool is, it'd be like a character on a TV show knowing the kid who watched that TV show. And that's something that I felt from what Reynolds was saying about the buddy comedy influences on this plot, including the films 48 Hours in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Borrowing from I think the tones of some of the great buddy films ever made. I mean, if you think about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, the first thing you think about is it's a very funny movie, it's a comedy, but it's also like a heartbreaking movie. I mean, it's a performance by John Candy, which is, I've had a lifelong obsession with that man, and that movie is proof in the pudding right there. I mean, it's so difficult to kind of execute those tones, and that's the sort of Empyrean heights with which we're kind of aspiring to here, is that, yeah, it's hysterical and completely unexpected at times, and we do some really, really wild stuff in this film, but there's also an emotional core and a backbone to it that allows us and facilitates us to be able to do all those other fun things.
So that image we've seen of Wade reading the book The Canadian Mounted, which is called back from Deadpool 2 and the first Deadpool's stuffed unicorn scene, comes directly from John Candy in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's the romance novel that Dell is reading at the airport. That entire dynamic between Steve Martin and John Candy in that movie absolutely parallels this one-way relationship, because throughout Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, John Candy is subversively blockading Steve Martin and throwing him off course, watching him from afar, accidentally stealing his taxi, accidentally swapping his credit card. And Steve Martin initially doesn't realize all these ways that Del has been slowing him down. But then at the very end of the movie, when they finally part ways, Steve Martin finally has the third act flashback, thinking back on things that Del had said throughout the movie and realizes, holy shit, this guy's a widower and he has no home to go to. So think about that when you watch this new clip that ended today's tickets on sale promo.
What you thinking about?
Get the fuck off of me. Shh. Almost done.
Almost done what? Getting my knife out of your buttocks, you pervert!
Yes, the comedic tension is a bit erotic, but it's also kind of a nod to this great moment in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles when the two men wake up in bed together in the motel spooning.
Why did you kiss my ear? Why are you holding my hand? Where's your other hand? Between two pillows. Those aren't pillows.
So it kind of sounds like sometime between now and July 26th, we're gonna have to do like a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles rewatch on New Rockstars. I don't know if we should do it as like a summer movie rewatch because it is like the one good Thanksgiving movie, but I don't know. Let us know in the comments below if you want us to do it now or wait for Thanksgiving. Comment down below with your thoughts on all this new Deadpool news. You can follow me at EA Voss, subscribe to all 3 channels in the New Rockstars network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.